Hey folks, rinimt here, and welcome to I'm Making a Monster. Thank you to the developer for the code. So I did previously check out the prologue demo to this, and well, the full game's here, so let's get going. We'll keep default name, and we'll do she, her. Yeah. Ophir Sonnet has been shut in her room for a month. She has not eaten a proper meal in more than a week. She has only drunk water under extreme duress. Today, Ophir opens the door to her room of her own volition, an occurrence her friends will be equally excited and nervous about, and stumbles from its dark depths with a dehydrated wobble to her step. Fumbling for some scrap paper and tearing the lid off a pen, Ophir drops onto a stool and begins to sketch. Fervor and ink splatter onto page after page in unsteady strokes. After many hours, during which friends come over and find Ophir, are relieved to see her out of her room, and then distraught again to find Ophir unable to tear herself from her work. Ophir holds up a final page of formulas and diagrams. Exclaim in triumph. Yes, she says, it can be done! Ophir almost bounces up from the stool, but she lacks the energy or coordination. So she settles for lifting the page up, beaming at her work. What can be done? Ophir jumps at the sound, almost falling over in the process. She had not noticed that a friend had crept into her kitchen while she worked. Abella leans out from the doorway, mixing bowl in hand, trying to hide her worry behind a smile. Ophir does not try to hide her rising excitement. Oh, Abella, she says, I'm gonna make something unlike anything I've ever made. Abella continues stirring, waiting. She has played this game before. Make something beautiful. And making Ophir continues something beautiful. Abella raises an eyebrow. Tell her the truth. I'm making a monster. Abella nods, trying to hide her mounting concern. Abella leaves shortly after that, depositing a salad Ophir promised to eat onto her work table. Eat some salad. Ophir pauses her work to swallow a few bites of salad. She's not sure if she's eaten anything else today. It is hard to pull herself from the work, but she realizes that she needs food or she will lack the strength to complete it. After eating more salad, she examines her plans. Creating a living being is an exhaustingly complex venture, but Ophir is nothing if not tenacious. She pursued her lifeless exile with the same resolve she now turns to her work. Nothing will make Ophir waver from this task. She's making a monster. But where to start? A monster needs many parts. A skeleton. It's always safe to start with the base. Ophir pulls out her notes on forming the monster's bones. Ophir considers the best way to build the monster's bones. So we got necromancy, plant magic, or mechatronics. We'll do mechatronics. Using technology to make the monster's skeleton would work. A skeleton of steel beams and copper wire would be effective and strong. Might even be near indestructible. Now, Ophir just needs to figure out how to acquire the needed materials. Scrounge materials from old projects. With enough time and effort, Ophir can salvage metals from her old projects and rework it into a skeleton. It'll be slower and more work than finding fresh materials to use, but Ophir can ensure quality is up to her precise standards. Ophir estimates this should take her 5 months to complete. After a month. After a month of work, Abella visits again. She rarely looks around the lab Ophir has set up. So, how's the, monster coming along? It's going well. Oh, it's going quite well. I'm making excellent progress on the monster's bones. I see, says Abella, fighting to maintain a neutral tone. She takes a breath. It's warm out today. How about we go for a walk? Go for a walk. Yeah, okay, Ophir says, standing from her stool. Let me just grab my coat. You don't need a coat. It's June. Ophir looks over from the closet she was rustling in. She furrows her brows. June? Mm-hmm. It's probably for the best that Ophir is leaving the apartment. Abella brings Ophir to a park she used to frequent before. She was right. The weather is gorgeous. A warm breeze ruffles through the tree canopy that frames the worn path the two walk along. Ophir and Abella catch up on small things. Max has developed a spell to remove excess earwax. Corey has joined the jazz band. Ophir slowly realizes that she misses her friends. Asks to meet again. This was really nice, Abella. Thanks for dragging me outside. Would it be alright if we did something like this again? A huge grin breaks across Abella's face. Of course! I'll see you soon. Ophir is into the second month of her work when she hits a snag. The metal beam bones aren't connecting as planned. She'll need to figure out a new strategy for attaching them. This will add a month to her estimate. After a month, Ophir is in the middle of some complicated calculations when Corey bounced through her front door unannounced. Maybe Ophir should start locking it? You coming to the concert? Corey asks. When is the concert? Ophir replies, barely looking from her work. Oh, come on, Corey grunts. A midsummer performance. I'm talking about for weeks, remember? Be honest. Not in the least, sorry. Corey sighs loudly. We're performing on July 21st. Here's a ticket. A small rectangular sheet is dropped onto Ophir's desk. See you there? Go to the concert. Definitely. Ophir examines the page. She can take some time off to support her friend. Sweet. We'll see you then. On the 29th? Wasn't it the 21st? Whatever. On the 29th, Ophir arrives at the concert exactly 5 minutes early. Her ticket hasn't signed seat, and she's surprised to find that she's in the front row. Abella and Max are already waiting. They're waiting. They smile when they see Ophir approach. Corey was worried you wouldn't show, but I knew you'd make time, Abella confides. Of course she'd show up. There was no uncertainty in my decision. This is important to Corey. I think it was just because you've been a bit absent lately, Max explains. At that, Ophir falls silent. Well, it's great to see you here, Max says with a smile. The concert is fun. The music is a bit loud at times. Isn't jazz supposed to be soothing? But Ophir appreciates its energy. Corey looks like he's having an amazing time. Ophir can't remember when Corey started learning the bass. Was it during... Maybe Ophir will ask Abella about it later. After the show, the three friends and Ophir go back to Max's to celebrate. Ophir is surprised to learn Max moved apartments. When did that happen? Maybe she has been a little overly engrossed in her work. Ophir promises to make more of an effort to spend time with her friends. After a week of struggling with a new... with a new synthesized alloy, Ophir finally gets part of the skeleton working to her satisfaction. She turns to share the breakthrough with... The lab is empty. Ophir is still alone. One morning, Ophir is distracted by a knock at her door. This is odd because most of her friends don't bother knocking. Tentatively, interest drawn by the mystery, Ophir crosses the room and cracks it open. Standing near the threshold is Luxman, a friend Ophir hasn't seen in more than a year. She smiles at Ophir a bit nervously. Hi, she says. Do you have a minute? I invite her in. Of course, please come in. Ophir steps aside, motioning her forwards. No need, she says. I just stopped by to see if you're free tonight. I'm showing an art exhibition and wanted to ask if you could make it. Her eyes are hopeful. Sure. It sounds really fun. I'd love to come by and see your work. She smiles largely. Amazing. Here's the invitation. She hands Ophir a small card. She raises an eyebrow. Very fancy, she teases. Luxman smiles, a bit embarrassed. Oh, see you then, she says. The art exhibition is very cool, if not a bit too formal for Ophir's taste. Several artists are being featured. Luxman's work is a collection of wire statues that move subtly when they're not being watched. It's gorgeously terrifying. Ophir spots Abella and Corey, and the three of them walk around commenting on different pieces and despairing over their prices. I'm happy to see you outside your lab, Abella says as the night winds to an end. See you again? Agree. Absolutely, I'll see you soon, Ophir says with a smile. She feels both happy and worried to see how much this pleases her friends. There are 3 months left in building the middle skeleton. Ophir feels that she is on a roll. All the theory is actualizing with an ease as we're leaving, unexpected and entirely pleasing. Ophir realizes that she's ahead of schedule and can reduce her work and estimate by a month. One day a month later, Ophir looks up from her work to see Abella walking in. She looks at the bones that she has almost finished and immediately looks away. She turns her gaze instead to Ophir. It's the last warm day of the year, she says. Come to the beach with me. Go to the beach. Excuse me. As long as we stop at my favorite cheese shop on the way, Ophir says, getting up from her seat. Deal, Abella replies with a smile. After stopping at the cheese shop to pick up some things to snack on, Ophir and Abella walk along the beach. There's a cool breeze coming off the water. After a bit, they find some large flat rocks to sit on. How are you doing, Ophir? Genuinely. Honestly, not so good. The work has been going well, but no matter how much progress I make, there's no sense of accomplishment. Everything feels so desaturated and far away. Abella nods solemnly. No one's expecting you to get over it right away. It's just hard to watch you destroy yourself over this. Ophir lets out a slow breath. Trying my best. Abella puts a hand on her shoulder. I know. Work continues with its usual ups and downs, but Ophir can tell the end is in sight. Anticipation rises as she visualizes the remaining skeleton parts coming together. A month later, Ophir is working late one night, or is it early one morning, when Max comes through, barging through her front door. Hello, he says. I need some help with some work that's got your name on it. Ask him to explain. With great pain, Ophir tears her eyes from the diagram she's halfway through drawing. What is it? I'm gonna make the best haunted house the world's ever seen, Max declares loudly. I agree to hear more. I'm listening, but that doesn't mean I'm agreeing to anything. Okay, wait, let me back up. So, haunted house. What do all haunted houses need? Yes. Ghosts? No, wrong. Haunted houses need skeletons, Max exclaims joyfully. And do you know who can make skeletons? Let him finish. Ophir sighs. That's right. You can make skeletons, or at least make them move. Actually, I don't know. Can you make or move skeletons? It's a bone control proficiency. I've dabbled in necromancy in the past. Max beams. See, I knew you'd be perfect for the job. Agree to help. Okay, Max concedes. I'll help you with your haunted house skeletons. A huge smile spreads across Max's face. I promise you won't regret it. After a few weeks of work on the synthetic skeletons, which Ophir finds somewhat enlightening and decides to bring concepts from into her own monster crafting, the haunted house is ready. Ophir and Max hide and watch customers scream as they realize the skeletons are moving toward them without strings. The dancing skeleton who offers to waltz is Ophir's favorite. Max likes someone who walks along the ceiling and chatters its teeth. All of Max's co-workers are duly impressed, and Ophir is invited to their dinner to celebrate the haunted house's success. It's a really fun evening that feels well earned. After 5 months, Ophir has finally completed the monster's bounds. A small thrill flows through her. She steps back and examines her work. Yes, it is definitely something beautiful. But her growing smile falters in the face of something of a startling thought. Would she have liked it? Of course. She would have liked it. She would have found it beautiful, fascinating, breathtaking. She may even have loved it. Ophir returns to her note. She needs to decide which part of the monster to construct next. The nervous system. After completing the bones, the brain and nervous system will allow the monster to move and think. Ophir should make it next to ensure its interfaces well with the rest of the body. Ophir ponders what the best material is for the task. Mechatronics. An inorganic computer brain would grant versatility and durability. It is also probably the most straightforward option. Finding computer parts to use could pose a challenge, though. Find them. Ophir runs through the list of people she knows who might be able to help her. Hopefully none of them have just drastically changed in the time since she last spoke. Through a series of calls, Ophir comes away with at least one good lead. She thinks she can complete the brain in 5 months. A month of work passes. Corey drops by one November afternoon and deposits a cookie on Ophir's desk. You make this? Ophir asks. Corey nods and Ophir snatches it up and begins untying the loose wrapping. There's more where that came from, Corey laughs. Oh? Ophir asks between mouthfuls of cookie. We're hanging out at Bella's tonight and bringing 2 boxes worth. Cookie temptation! Is that an invitation? Do you want the cookies or not? Absolutely, I want the cookies. Corey's smile widens a few notches. See you tonight then? Continue. Ophir arrives at Bella's apartment that evening. She hesitates for a moment. She hasn't been here since before. She reminds herself the cookies are waiting on the other side of the door and knocks. Bella opens the door with a smile. I'm so glad you made it, she says. Bella's apartment looks the same as Ophir remembers. As she walks further in, she sees Corey and Max already settled in the living room. Their promised cookies are laid out on the coffee table. Ophir spends some time cautiously discussing how things have been. She tries not to say too much about the monster. It's not too hard when she keeps grabbing more cookies. Max eventually suggests starting a movie, and Ophir glances at the time. Stay for the movie. Ophir settles in to rewatch one of Bella's favorite movies. She feels herself relaxing by fragments as each minute passes. Corey and Max argue over plot holes and continuity errors while Bella hushes them during her favorite scenes. It all feels so warm and familiar, and it stirs an ache in her heart. There is too much missing from this picture for it to feel complete, but maybe this is what it feels like to pour paint over an old canvas and create something new? Ophir hits a breakthrough in her work. The computer's pattern recognition is progressing far above expectations, as are the sensors aiding the peripheral nervous system's response times. The advances put her about a month ahead of schedule. Ophir is ecstatic. Another month elapses. Before Ophir realizes it, the year is over. It's been almost 9 months since... Ophir examines the letter in her hand. It's from Abella. She's inviting her to a New Year's party she's hosting. Behind the open letter, a huge pile of work on her desk looms. She had hoped to finish prototyping a new design for a connecting piece this week. Go to the party. Ophir has been working diligently, keeping long hours and taking little time to rest. She can spare the time for a break this evening. She calls up Abella and lets her know she'll be able to make it. She sounds very pleased and it makes Ophir smile. Ophir arrives at Abella's party in fancy clothes that pinch a little. Abella opens the door with a huge grin and Ophir promptly shoves a bottle of champagne in her face. "Thank you for inviting me," she says. "Of course," Abella exclaims. "Thank you for coming." She takes the champagne and then Ophir's coat, showing her inside. What follows is a fun night of reminiscing and declaring next year promises. The only awkward moment is when someone who's friends of a friend of Ophir's mentions Delaney. The room falls silent briefly as someone else pulls this friend of a friend away. Ophir can very clearly hear them having a terse conversation about not mentioning her in Ophir's presence. Ophir resolutely ignores it. Soon after, she notices Max and Abella watching her like she might break into a million pieces. Ophir also resolutely ignores this. Corey comes over with a fresh glass of champagne and they all toast to friendship and everything is fine after that. At least that's what Ophir tells herself. The room counts down to midnight and erupts in cheers and hugs. Ophir sends sparks flying over the champagne flutes, much to the party's enjoyment and Abella's nervousness. She double-checked with Ophir that it was safe to drink at least a dozen times before letting her guests toast. After midnight, many of the guests begin making their goodbyes and heading home. The party slowly grows quieter and warmer. Let's talk to Abella. Ophir finds Abella in the kitchen. She's packing up leftovers and loading the dishwasher. Offer to help. Need any help? Oh no, I'm almost done, Abella replies. Did you have fun tonight? Honestly. It can be hard sometimes, having fun around so many people. It just reminds me that she's not here. She rubs her face, hiding her expression for a moment. But it was good being here. I'm glad that you came anyways. It means a lot to me to have you here, and I'm happy to see you taking a break. Abella pauses for a second. I'm worried about you. It's been more than half a year and you're still shut up in your lab most days. Worrying about if you're eating, sleeping, it's tiring. I really care about you and seeing you like this is hard. I know you need time. They're giving you your space and time, but it's clear that things aren't going as they are. Have you talked to anyone about Delaney? Promise to get help. You're right, I haven't spoken to anyone. I promise I'll talk to someone. Thank you. I'm always here if you need me, but I think you should look into talking to a professional. I will. Thanks. After wrapping up her conversation with Abella, Ophir chats with a few more friends. Some silly party games are played, and Ophir finds herself laughing more than she has in a long time. A few hours later, Ophir makes her goodbyes and heads home. It's quite a bit later than she had expected to be out, but somehow she can't find energy to be anxious about it. It was nice seeing her friends. The warmth of that feeling follows her home. Ophir is surprised by how easily everything is coming along. The work is less tiring than usual. It feels like Ophir can spare some energy for other activities without worrying about it running out. A month of work later. On January 14th, Ophir realizes it's Abella's birthday tomorrow. She glances over at her phone. It's probably not too late to make plans. Try to put something together last minute. Ophir opens her phone and calls Max. He picks up on the second ring. Am I dead? There's just another call from the renowned hermit, Ophir Sonnet. Sarcastic joke. No, this is your landlord, taking you on the order to fill your place with rubber ducks. The monarch of humor returns at last, cries Max. Yes, thank you. Jokes aside, I'm calling about Abella's birthday. Very birthday it is, in fact, tomorrow, Max replies. Yes, that one. Well, you're in luck because I've already made all the plans. We're meeting at Corey's tomorrow at 2. Max receives a list of a series of events that Ophir realizes will take up the entire rest of her afternoon and evening. Agrees to the whole event. Sounds great, I'll be there. Amazing, Abella will be so happy you can make it. Ophir can hear Air's smile through the phone. Ophir has a really enjoyable afternoon with her friends. They play some party games at Corey's and go see a movie. There are too many aliens and laser beams in the film for Ophir's liking, but Abella loves it. The evening concludes with a visit to Abella's favorite restaurant. Ophir finds herself smiling and laughing more than she has in a long time. At the end of the evening, Bella gives Ophir a huge hug. Thank you so much for coming. It really means a lot to me. When Ophir gets home, the scarab pieces of the monster are waiting for her. Guilt rises, sudden and overwhelming. How could she have been out for so long and just left her like this? She gazes at her heart-made form, and as a sinner before her God, promises to do better. And yet, a small part of her starts to wonder if maybe she's already giving it enough. Ophir spends some time testing the nervous system, watching as inputs are transplanted to outputs and back, watching different parts light up and process information. She layers together webs, connecting nodes, creating meaning interlinked. She knows with as much certainty as she's had about anything that the monster can awaken. And when she does, she will know all. Another month. Ophir is washing up some mostly non-caustic chemicals that spilled. Their phone starts ringing. She finishes cleaning everything and texts her missed calls. Max has been trying to reach her. Okay, I need water. As so much talking in a row. Okay. Call Max back. Without thinking about it much, Ophir calls Max back. Hi, Ophir. Glad you called back. What's up, Max? I was wondering if you're free this afternoon? On the chat. Sure, come by whenever. I'll be home. Great. 3 hours later. Ophir is pulled out of her work by a knock at the door. She makes her way over and finds Max holding a large bag. I brought snacks, Max explains. Faye pushes past Ophir and begins moving papers to make room to set up. Those are organized! Ophir grabs the papers from Max's hand and begins putting them away more delicately. Sorry, but hey, I brought your favorite! Max pulls out containers of assorted cheeses. Right, you're forgiven. Hand over the cheese! Max obliges. The two catch up as they compare cheeses from the selection that Max brought. Sometime Ophir asks, did you have something specific you wanted to talk about? Yes, actually. I appreciate all the effort you've been putting into looking after yourself. I want to make sure you know that. I was really worried for a long time. It was hard to see you like that. Max smiles, but Ophir can see the pain Faye's trying to hide. And it's been so nice seeing you more often. I missed you so much. I apologize for the hurt she's caused. Sorry that I hurt you. Things were hard for me, but they were hard for you too. Max waves her hands. I didn't mean to make you apologize. I just want to explain that I saw the work you're putting in and it meant a lot to me. Faye pauses and takes a breath. I don't hold anything you did against you, and I didn't take it personally. I'm just so happy you're doing better now. She's not who she once was. I'm better, Max, but I don't want to mislead you. I'm not at the place I used to be. I'm not sure I'll ever be like that again. I understand, Max says quietly. I don't expect you to be. I'm happy with the you that you are now. And I'm happy you're letting us in and letting us support you where you need it. They share a hug, and Ophir is definitely not crying at all as they finish the last of the cheese. Finally, Max gets up with a smile. This was so nice. Thanks for having me over. Thank you for all the cheeses. My pleasure. See you again. Ophir smiles. Definitely. Finally, after 4 months of work, the monster's brain is complete. Ophir steps back and takes a look at her work so far. The metal beam skeleton paired with the computer nervous system is breathtaking. Ophir notices flaws here and there. The work isn't good enough. She begins to doubt if what she's making will even come close to what she had envisioned. With the final piece, everything will coalesce or come apart. No matter, Ophir isn't one to not finish what she started. All that remains is the monster's skin. The flesh will cover the monster, finally allowing it to exist in its full glory. Now choose the method by which she shall complete the monster. Stick with mechatronics. Best way to apply mechatronics to skin would be to form it with metal and plastic plates. Ophir checks her notes and realizes she's going to need a lot of metal for this to work. Scavenge the required metals. Ophir doesn't love the idea of pulling apart her old projects, but she's confident she can get what she needs with enough time and effort. Sometimes sacrifices need to be made in the name of progress. After doing some preliminary research and checking her existing notes, Ophir estimates she can complete the outer layer in 3 months. One day, while in the middle of some very complicated calculations, Ophir gets a text from Bella. It reads, "Got a minute? It's important." Ophir's phone starts to ring. Then pick up. Hey Bella, what's up? Hi, is this an alright time? I want to revisit our conversation about talking to someone for help. Hear Abella out. I'm listening. Ophir says tentatively. Thank you, Abella says. I found someone. I found someone I think could really be really great for you. I'm just asking you to give him a try. Try therapy. 1 session, Ophir concedes. She knows will make Abella happy. A week later, Ophir shows up at the therapist's office. She talks to the therapist about the work. She does not mention Delaney. It goes okay. Ophir feels a little better by the end of it, but she is a bit stressed about the time she's losing that could be spent working. At the end of the session, the receptionist asks if she'd like to book another one. Yeah, book another session. Ophir books another session for the following week. Ophir hits a hitch with her work. Frustrated, she redoes her calculations and adds a month to her estimated timeline. On April 2nd, Ophir packs a small bag. She includes water, a candy bar, an umbrella, her keys, and her wallet. She takes a considering look at her phone. She wants to be alone today. Pack the phone. Ophir throws the phone into her bag, throws her bag over her shoulder and walks out the door. The walk to the cemetery is long, but Ophir doesn't mind it. When she gets there, she realizes she doesn't know where to go. She's never been before. After a little while of meandering, she finds a groundskeeper who points her in the right direction. Soon after that, she finds a grave. Delaney's grave. Ophir sits down in front of the grave. She watches it silently for a while. Finally, she speaks. Tell her about how she's doing. Doing okay. I am working on a really cool project. I also started therapy recently. Talk about therapy. I told my therapist about you. It kind of helped to talk about you with someone who didn't know you. They didn't judge me or anything. That was nice. They even mentioned some things I could do when missing you hurts too much. I've been trying to do the exercises. They help. Explain what she's been doing. Our friends have been working really hard to drag me out to do things besides work. It's a bit frustrating. It was a bit frustrating at first, but I think I appreciate it. They really care about me. I'm trying to be a better friend to them. Talk about when Delaney died. When he died, it was like everything that mattered left with you. I couldn't watch any of my favorite movies because all I could remember was watching them with you. And then I remember you were gone. Everything would hurt all over again. Do you know how many times I picked up the phone to call you only to remember there was no one to answer? You died a year ago, but it still hurts as much as if it happened yesterday. If it was so hard without you, it's still hard now. You were so much more to me than just a friend. It felt like you fit so well into my life. It gets sad. I miss you deeply. I just want you to come back, and I know that can never happen, but that doesn't stop me from wanting it. I'm half made again. I'm weak and faulty without you. You made me better, and now I'm lost. Get angry. I'm so mad at you for dying. I know it wasn't your fault, but I can't believe you left me here all alone. It hurts so much, and it feels like when I'm working, it's the only time I don't feel a knife twisting into my chest. I hate you for leaving me, but I love you so much. The monster. The work that I'm doing, I'm building a monster. It's for you. I know it won't be you. I probably won't be anything like you. When you died, I felt like it took a part of me with you. I'm trying to get that piece back. I know this monster won't be able to do that, but in my heart, I feel like it could. Monster will be beautiful, and it's all for you. I hope you hate it. She gets up. Ophir wipes at her tears and gets up. She rummages in her bag, pulling out the candy bar and leaving it on top of the tombstone. On her way home, Ophir notices her phone is ringing. It's Abella. Pick up. Hey, Abella. I just want to check in on how you're doing. I know today is the cemetery. I went to the cemetery today. And how'd that go? Honestly. It was really hard, but it was nice talking to her even if she couldn't reply. Do you want to talk about it? She does. Ophir pauses for a moment. And when she speaks, it feels as if she's pulling the words from deep within herself. It's okay. Could we talk about Delaney? Of course! Abella says softly. I'll be over in a minute with some tea. Before Ophir can explain how unnecessary that is, Abella has hung up, and there's a knock on the door. She arrives soon after Ophir gets home, and the two sit and chat about Delaney long into the night. It hurts, but it's cathartic. By the time she sees the sun rising outside her window, Ophir feels very slightly better. The immenseness of her loss feels like it could be surmounted one day. The following night, Ophir tosses and turns, trapped in the restless sleep of the living. She dreams that she finished the monster, laying the final piece and has awakened her. She opens her eyes, and it's a copy of a copy of a copy of a face she used to know, a face she still loves, distorted, repeated, and fragmented almost past recognition. Speak to her. Hello, Ophir says. I've been waiting for you. She opens her mouth to speak, and fear rises, quick and clawing. What would be worse, that the monster really is Delaney, or that she's not? Her glazed gaze digs into Ophir's eyes. She says, "You are selfish to have made me. How could you? How dare you? You inspire only hate in my lifeless metal heart." No. Ophir wakes with a start, shivering and panting. She curls into herself and doesn't sleep again that night. Work has advanced well since last month's setback. Looking over the range of skin prototypes, Ophir feels good about our progress so far. One sunny spring morning, Ophir is making coffee when she notices the tulips in the yard have begun to blossom. She remembers that Corey is quite fond of tulips. Invite Corey to a tulip farm. Ophir calls up Corey. He picks up immediately. Is everything okay? Yeah, I just want to know if you'd like to go see some tulips with me. Are you serious? Yes, I would absolutely die to go see some tulips with you. I'll pick you up in 20 minutes. Before Ophir has a chance to say anything else, Corey hangs up. As promised, Corey shows up 10 minutes later. He plays folk rock over the drive to the tulip farm. Flowers are stunning, lined in rows of solid colors. They fill the eye, creating a world of blooms. Corey and Ophir take a few photos and pick a couple tulips to take home with them. As they walk back to the car, Corey puts a hand on Ophir's shoulder. I really appreciate you calling and inviting me out. Be honest. It was hard to pull myself away from my work. This was really fun. Thank you for coming here with me. Corey smiles. I hope to see you again soon. Ophir's reached the block in the spell she's crafted when a conversation with Abella comes to mind. She'd been working on something that needed to be stretched but not lose its stability. Referencing her descriptions, Ophir finishes a test-ready spell formulation. A few days later, the screen patch she's working on is finally behaving the way she needs. A current of excitement hums just below Ophir's skin. She can't wait to try applying the spell to more of the skin tomorrow. Ophir's in the middle of working out a spell when her phone rings. She glances at the offending device, weighing how much of a distraction picking it would be. Pick it up. Hello? Hi, Ophir. It's Luxmay's voice. I know it's been a while and this is really last minute, but are you free today? Make time. Yeah, I've got time. Outstanding, Luxmay replies. I'll take you painting. Luxmay meets Ophir at a park that she's visited before, but not in a long while. She helps her carry easels, canvases, and paints from her car. She has a spot in mind to set up, the top of a small hill overlooking a pond on one side and a clump of trees on the other. As Luxmay sets up the easels, nerves begin to gather in Ophir's chest. Confess to a lack of painting skill. Luxmay, I don't know how to paint. I can give you some pointers if you want, but why don't you just jump in and or water and play around with it? Whatever you make, it doesn't need to be any specific way. Ask for pointers. I'd take some pointers. Luxmay smiles. My main advice is to not be intimidated by the paint. Use as much as you want. Definitely use more than you think you need. Try making whatever you want. Once you're a bit further into it, I can give you more specific advice. Sure, thanks. At least Luxmay won't feel bad if she wastes a bunch of her paint. Try painting something. Ophir tentatively dips the brush into some paint and begins moving across the canvas. At first, she focuses on feeling the brush stutter and slide across the surface, but soon she tries to imitate the things she's seeing. The painting ends up looking like a jumbled mess of green and blue, but Ophir kind of likes it. It's a lot of talking. Alright. Continue. Luxmay walks over to take a look, smiling hugely. Oh, it looks great, she says. I love the way you blend the colors. It feels delicious. Ophir thinks she's just being nice, but it still makes her smile. It really is quite a bad painting. She shows her how to wash the brushes, and Ophir sneaks a peek at her painting as they put them away. Luxmay has painted a night sky reflecting the pond. Fish jump from its waters and leaves float along its surface. Along the edge of the pond are piles of bones. It's nothing like the park. Luxmay casts a spell that Ophir doesn't entirely follow, and the water begins to ripple subtly. She winks at her. Compliment the painting. Wow, Luxmay, that's incredible. She smiles. Thank you. Comes with years of practice. She was never good at accepting compliments. Ophir is glad that some things haven't changed. Ophira helps pack up the easels and carry them and the paintings back to Luxmay's car. She drops her back at home and they say goodbye with a wave. At long last, after 1 month and 1 year of work, Ophira has completed the monster. Ophir steps back to take her and admire her. She looks up from her creation. Her skeleton is metal beam, her brain is computer, her flesh is metal plate. Yes, she is truly beautiful. She too is an abomination. She feels... without yet knowing her, Ophir feels a vast and deep love drowning her. She has poured herself into her, and here she lies, waiting. Cast a final spell to awaken the monster. Wait, can I, save it here, maybe? Cast a final spell to awaken the monster. Ophir casts the last spell, and the monster opens her eyes. She looks upon Ophir expressionless. Speak to her. Can you speak? She asks. She shakes her head softly. She holds out her hand. Take it. Ophir takes her hand very gently. She puts her other hand on top of hers. Ophir begins to cry. Time passes. Over the following months, Ophir retreats further from the world. She spends all her time with the monster, hoping she'll one day be more than she is. The monster is very kind. Ophir needs to keep reminding herself that it's not the monster's fault. Nothing's her fault. She stays with Ophir and is patient and understanding. She's always there for Ophir, always trying to help. She's everything she wanted. Ophir's friends keep reaching out, trying to make plans, but Ophir pulls herself further and further away. She's the monster now, and she's everything she needs. How could she leave her? And yet, everything about the monster only makes Ophir think of how she's not but a hollow imitation. The monster will never be Delaney, and Ophir will never be alone again. If Ophir feels bitterness that the monster keeps her from seeing her friends out of shame, out of horror, out of love, and she buries that feeling deep within herself. And if Ophir feels hollow and emptiness that grows inside her each night, she ignores it. Everything as it should be. The end. Oh, that's a lot of text. Making a Monster was developed primarily in Toronto, Ontario, on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, a lot of First Nations names. I don't want to brutalize them. Toronto was covered by Treaty Number 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. The rights of Indigenous peoples are being violated. Settler colonialism is and has been actively dismantling the connection to the land and their cultures through historic and ongoing genocide. We encourage settlers to unlearn colonial history, deconstruct their privilege, and learn about Indigenous cultures and the settler responsibilities. In this way, we learn the truth of the land we live on and reject Indigenous erasure and colonial myths. We want to highlight the global land back movement, which aims to return land to Indigenous peoples. By returning land, self-governance and environmental stewardship are returned as well. The land back movement is led by Indigenous peoples, and we emphasize the importance of listening to Indigenous people and following their leadership. We act towards land's return and reconciliation. Some of the ideas in land back, sovereignty, caring for the land, and distinct identity are represented in the dish with one spoon at wampum. In Toronto, the wampum is peace agreement between and the two tribes, in which the land is seen as a dish that we, the spoon, share in the spirit with mutual cooperation. We ensure the dish remains full by caring for the land, its animals, and its peoples with the goal of mutual benefit and sustainability. In I'm Making a Monster, your character is struggling with loss in their community tries to support them through their grief. We exist in a world of interconnectedness, and severing out ourselves will only harm ourselves and others in the long term. By rejecting individualism and recognizing the importance of community, we can work towards care and understanding. This care should also extend to the world we inhabit and share. This is just as much a part of our community. As we are responsible for caring for one another, we too are responsible for caring for the land. We work towards this by upholding the spirit and intent of the Dish with One Spoon Wampum and other treaties. The game is also developed in Bandung, Indonesia, where it is hard to speak about developing queer games and hard to know who to trust with one's words. We test the waters and tread carefully, employing effort where the energy feels warranted. We find community where we can and treasure it even more dearly because of it. Queer people have always existed and will never stop existing. So true. They were here on Turtle Island before the settler colonists came. They were here even when not wanted. We don't have a choice. Queerness exists, whether we can speak its name or not. Remember those who have come before us, those who were killed by fascism and hate, and so will always be somewhat unknown to us. Those who fled persecution and brought their families at these lands. Those who build the foundation of our homes. Thank you for working towards creating a world where we can follow our dreams. And the credits. Alright, I want to load that save. Load. Continue. She feels stuck here. Ophir pauses, hesitating before the final spell. Creating life is a large responsibility. It introduces moral quandaries, but she has been ignoring up to now. Does that really matter? No sin is too great when in service to her word. She's already come this far. It would be a waste not to take the final step. But does Ophir really need the monster? Ophir has friends. Good friends who are there for her when she needs them. But what about Delaney? Wouldn't leaving everything in this undone sorry state be betraying Delaney, abandoning her? Yet she knows she of all people wouldn't want this. Let her go. As Ophir gives up completing the monster, she feels herself letting Delaney go. It's scary and frustrating. Her heart hurts. Call a friend. Ophir's fingers scramble across her phone. Abella. Phone rings for exactly 18 seconds. Ophir knows because she counts them. Ophir? Hey, Abella. Ophir pauses for a moment. I need to talk to you about the monster. Abella promises to be over soon. Ophir sits down on the floor. She knows it'll be okay. She has friends who love her. She won't be alone soon. With a monster behind her, Ophir struggles to fill the sudden emptiness she leaves with. Abella and other friends come and spend time with Ophir. Ophir finds it easier to be honest with them, and they seem to help stop the devouring a boy from overtaking her. Slowly, very slowly, Ophir discovers she can leave the monster behind. She starts seeing her friends at least once a week, rejoining the schedule of alternating Saturday brunches and Friday night movies. It can be tiring, and sometimes Ophir wants to bail on their plans, but it's also enjoyable. And Ophir can feel the way it connects them together. Each get together, it makes it a little easier to reach out. Time passes. Ophir finds other projects to pursue and forces herself to rest, eat, and leave the apartment. A lot of what she discovered while monster making is state-of-the-art. Ophir learns that she enjoys sharing her findings and inventions with others. Not everything is perfect. Ophir knows things can never go back to the way they were. She can never get Delaney back, and she'll never again be who she was when she was here. But there's hope now. Ophir sees the possibility of a new version of herself. One who's worked out the stiffness in her scar tissue and is reaching out, ready to reconnect with the world. One who's not resistant to surrounding herself for friends and love once more. Well, that was I'm making a monster. Now, there's other routes you could do. You could do different builds, you could ignore your friends. But I think that's a good point. Support queer voices. Queer people exist. They will always exist. They have always existed. And yeah. Thank you for watching. Thank you to the developer for the code. That was I'm Making a Monster. If you enjoyed the video, consider tossing a like, comment, subscribe. Maybe click the bell for notifications. Also, be sure to check out the description below. Various links, social media, Discord. Come hang out, get notifications there too. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, there are links for that in the description, as well as stuff like channel memberships. Really helps, but is completely optional. I will keep putting things up for free. But, it helps. Yeah. Thank you again for watching. And until next time, this is rinimt signing out. Bye!